our next recipe. So our second recipe is Spanish tortilla with roasted summer veg. So to help you lower your risk of cancer, experts suggest limiting red meat to 3 servings per week, and that means 300.
No, I'm good.
What happened?
No, I dropped the whisk, but I'm good.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're good though, right? Okay. So we're talking about lowering our risk of cancer and how the guidelines recommend having maybe 3 servings of red meat per week, reducing our intake of red meat. And what that translates to is about 350 to 500 grams per week. I like to use the handy dandy hand, so that would be the size of the palm of hand. Also talking about a deck of cards, because I know some sneaky people say, okay, so it's this around, right? This is the size, but how thick can it be? So the deck of cards gives you a better representation of that. So if you eat less red meat, we still want to make sure you're getting enough protein, right? You need the protein for healing and recovery after treatment. You need it to build muscle. We talked a little bit about muscle before. And your immune system. Excellent. Yes, you get points. Okay, we're starting to give out points to the class. And this recipe uses eggs. And eggs is a great source of protein, high quality. Also has several other nutrients in it. So we're going to use eggs. Don't be afraid of eggs. It's good for you. And I'll talk a little bit more about the whole fear of cholesterol. So,
okay. Fantastic. Yes, I love eggs as well. This is a recipe we haven't tried in the class, but it's a fantastic way to use eggs. And this is a Spanish tortilla. Has anyone had or heard of a Spanish tortilla before? Yes. Okay. So this is all right. So this is perfect. I'm going to teach you all about the Spanish tortilla. So what I absolutely love about this dish is that it is super, super simple. It is essentially 4 ingredients. Traditionally, okay? So we have eggs, potatoes, onion, and olive oil. And that is all you need, and is absolutely scrumptious and filling and nourishing as well. What I am going to do, so if you're a purist about the traditional Spanish tortilla, do not hate me. You can send your emails to Daniela. But what I love about it, because it is so simple, and it's summertime, and we're grilling, we have extra grilled vegetables. Again, like the first recipe, this is a fantastic sort of medium to use those leftover vegetables to make it a lot easier, okay? So, for example, if I had some leftover roasted potatoes, it's already cooked, beautiful. This is a great way to use them. If I had some leftover grilled vegetables, we have some zucchini, some roasted peppers, beautiful, fantastic. This is going to be a great sort of format to introduce those, and it's reducing the amount of work that I have to do as well. So it makes me really happy. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is start off with our eggs. We are using 8 eggs for this dish. This will serve about a 6 to 8 inch saute pan. Okay. So I already have 6 cracked. We're going to crack 2 more, and little tip on cracking eggs is I always use it on a flat surface. You may have learned growing up, do it on a corner. What that may do is actually it will increase the chances of driving shells into your eggs. So flat surface, and then it will crack a little bit easier, and you won't have all those little bits of shells. No, what? Yeah, I can see someone melding. Do it with one hand.
I never know that.
Is that? Oh, I didn't notice that.
No.
Not live.
Not live.
I'll end up with shells everywhere. Okay.
That's so funny.
So, eggs, we're going to whisk them up. Use a big bowl, obviously, for this. And what I want to do is actually introduce quite a bit of air, as much air as I can into it. So we want to whisk until, yes, it's combined, but until I start to see a little bit of bubbles, little tiny bubbles on top, which means that I'm incorporating some really nice air, and I'm going to get this really nice sort of puff of the eggs.
So if your ability to whisk isn't the greatest, is this a place where you could use my favorite tool is the
Immersion blender. I knew you were going there. Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely use an immersion blender.
The juju.
The
The
juju.
juju. That's a technical term. Yeah, for the immersion blender. Yeah, that would absolutely
Or a
work.
mixer, but
as
I was
well,
just thinking the
Or hand mixer, but you
Yeah.
can definitely use to make it a little bit easier. So you can see. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Shot two.
I know I'm
Oh.
Okay, it's a little hard to see, but if I tip a little bit, you start to see bubbles, right? Frothing on the top a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking for. We want to get some air into it. And then here is where we can add our ingredients and whatever flavors we like. And yes, traditionally it's just potato and onion, but we're gonna break tradition here and use. We still have potato, we still have onion, but I love the idea of adding more color. And Daniela always promotes using more color, more vegetables.
more color.
I think this is the best or great application for that.
What's the red thing?
Roasted peppers.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
Good.
ask the class, why do I talk about color? Why do I like color? Yeah, no.
Because I think each vegetable is one of the biggest principle.
Yes.
It allows us to get different nutrients from different colors of vegetable. It's called terminology is called nutrients from the vegetable is a phyto.
Oh my goodness.
How do you say that?
Phytonutrients.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
So
good.
yeah, so we have to start giving points.
Yes,
for
yes.
Yeah. So the answer was correct. So the reason we talk about color is because each of the colors are connected to a different phytonutrient, a nutrient that you find in plants. As was correctly stated, phyto, P-H-Y-T-O, is the Greek prefix for plant. So whenever you see something that says phytonutrient, phytochemical, you just know that it's a chemical or nutrient in the plant. And I just love that each color is connected to a different nutrient. Oh, excellent.
We're ready to move on to the next
Ready
step.
to move on.
All right, so vegetables submerged into our egg mixture here. Now we're moving on to the pan, okay? A 6 to 8 inch saute pan, that's going to be sort of your standard is what we're using. We're going to break tradition again now. So usually we just go straight into the pan. A little bit of olive oil on the bottom, straight into the pan. Again, if you're not super comfortable cooking, maybe your pan is not the best at sort of non-sticking or cooking eggs. I want to make this as easy as possible. So if you walked into a house in Spain and they're making Spanish tortilla, they're probably not taking out the parchment paper for this, but I will, because I love parchment paper. So I want to show you how to do this with parchment paper. It's going to make it a lot easier, especially if you're not super comfortable lifting a pan. If it's heavy, that can be a little challenging, let alone having to flip it over, which is the fun part of this. So we're going to make this really easy. Parchment paper, a little bit bigger than the size of my pan. We're going to crumble it up under some little bit of water.
Have you seen this technique?
Yes, I think
Some people
Oh,
have
no,
it,
okay.
so
All right.
it'll be below your mouth.
So, running it under a little bit of water, crumpling it up so now it is malleable, right? And it will tuck into the sides of my pan a lot easier. Okay, and so now it's lining. I want to make sure that the
Can you bring
edges,
it over?
yeah, of course. If you do shot 3, there we go. Perfect. I want to make sure that the sides do come up to the edge of the pan. So you can kind of see here,
Yes.
we don't want the eggs sneaking in behind there, because then it's going to be a mess. But as long as it's covered and lift in above the edge of the pan, then we're good to go. Medium heat, and we're going to add our egg mixture directly into the pan. This is going to save you a lot of headache afterwards. Okay, we'll show you. So
So good.
We have a lot of oohs and ahs from the
I
audience.
will try today.
use your spatula and make sure you push your vegetables and ingredients down. I think I forgot to add a little salt and pepper, but you can add it at this point. So I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper.
And do we have any questions from home? don't see
No questions from home, but a question here. Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry.
We have a gas stove, so I'm a little concerned. So do we just trim the paper around it?
Yes.
Should work fine?
Great question. If you have a gas stove, yeah, any of this overhang,
Yeah,
trim.
just trim it
Yeah,
away.
yeah. So just take some scissors and just trim off the edges, and yeah,
Perfect.
it'll be fine.
Good
I can't wait
question.
to try.
Good
Yes.
question. So the question was about a gas stove.
Gas stove. Yeah, for
Trim.
those at home, if you
Yeah.
have a gas stove, trim the edges. Parchment paper is perfectly safe to cook in, but it is also paper, and fire and paper. Well, you can probably guess what happens next. Yes, question.
So the technique of using the parchment paper, so
Yes.
it can be applied on any kind of this kind of pan, stick, non-stick, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, any type of pen.
it makes me foolproof.
And it makes you foolproof.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
So the question was whether the parchment paper, this technique can be used in any kind of
Any type
pan.
of pen. Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's what the answer was, yes.
So we have our parchment paper at medium heat. The key here with the tortilla is gentle heat. So we're going to give it some time. Okay, we want it to sort of slowly cook so that it cooks evenly and we get this really, really nice crust on the bottom. Okay, so opposite from French omelet. French omelet, we don't want color. With a Spanish tortilla, just like Spanish omelet, we want color. We want a nice little crust on the bottom. Okay, so slow heat, slow cooking time, and lower heat. So about medium is good. And then every once in a while, you might have to just use your spatula, just stir and release the edges so that anything that, because the edges will cook a little bit faster, any of the uncooked part can kind of sort of seep behind there. What I like doing is grabbing a lid, if you have, and you can put it right on top, and the steam that it creates will actually help to set the top a little bit better, and so it'll cook a little bit faster that way. Okay, so about 8-10 minutes is what we're looking for. The top is still going to be a little wet, which is fine. Okay, that's going to bring us to the fun part. So let's do swap here.
Magic of television, he already has one
We
ready.
already have one ready.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. So we have one ready.
Okay.
This pan here, you can see is different. This is a cast iron, it's a little bit heavier. For me to lift this and flip it, I mean, it's heavy. It's going to be a little challenging, right? But what we want to do is essentially take that tortilla and flip it so that it cooks on the other side. This is a thick dish, right? The top is still a little wet. It hasn't fully cooked yet. So what we're going to do, instead of lifting the pan, get 2 plates ready, okay?
I need to
Get yourself another piece of parchment, okay, which I had earlier, ready. And what we'll do is we'll take our plate, and because I have it in the parchment, I don't need to lift the pan. I just lift the sides of the parchment, and it makes it a lot easier, right, to lift out. And then I take that other piece of parchment, and we're going to put it on top. Take the other plate. This is really fun.
This is so easy.
Have to
I'm
try
going
this
to
at
do
home.
it this way again. Yes.
Right? And instead of flipping the pan, which is heavy, it's going to be a lot easier to flip the plate. Okay? So you can count this down. We can all do it together. Right? Count it.
One,
1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Ta-da!
So that was maybe it would have been more exciting if I did it. But again, we don't want it to
We love it. We love easy.
challenging. We love
Right?
easy.
We
So
love
now that other
easy.
piece of parchment comes off really easily, and then now you can see it was right? You have this beautiful crust on that bottom side,
It got beautiful.
and then again, instead of having to slide it back in the pan, I have my parchment that is very easy to lift, and then I can just gently put it back in the pan like this. You can even tack it down,
Very smart.
and then finish cooking the other side. All right? A few minutes. I've mostly cooked it this way, so a few minutes until the bottom side is set, and then you're good to go. And then after that, actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw it to you.
You're gonna throw it to me?
Yeah, we'll throw it to
Okay.
you while this finishes.
Well, this finishes. So yeah, so I said I would talk a little bit more about eggs. So one egg actually provides about 7 grams of protein. So if you were having 2 eggs, that's 14. That's a good amount for a meal, right? So when you have protein, you want to spread it out with each of your meals. That's the best way for your body to metabolize it, but also for your muscles to build and maximize muscle and good for healing. Now, some people avoid eggs. I don't know. I'm thinking more and more now. We're getting the picture, but the reason people were avoiding eggs because we're told cholesterol. There's a lot of cholesterol in the egg. Well, yes, there is dietary cholesterol. Yes, it is in the yolk, but further research has found that it is not the dietary cholesterol that is a concern for heart disease. It's more the how you prepare, like if you fry the egg versus doing a technique like today. So you're introducing additional fats that might make it a little less healthy for you, right? So poaching the egg is fine, scrambling is fine. It's more the frying that you want to avoid. The other thing is the whites of the egg, yes, has protein. There's also protein in the yolk. And actually, most of your vitamins and minerals are in the yolk. So the choline, there's some vitamin D, there's some vitamin, let me see. There's tons of, we've got selenium, vitamin B12, riboflavin, pantothenic acid. We have all those vitamins and minerals. So have the yolk as part of the egg. So that's my PSA on eggs.
Love that. Fantastic. Yes, questions?
I have an allergy to eggs, so I
Okay. Well, then that's
Okay.
different if you have an allergy to eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you can cook in?
Instead of the eggs? So, I mean, it would be a slightly different dish. We have done one before with a silken tofu. I know it sounds odd, but it actually is. It works out really well. And I'll share the recipe. We actually have it online, where we did a silken tofu based frittata, which is like an Italian version of this. And you just blend it, a little bit of turmeric, and had it with the rest of your ingredients, vegetables, and it sort of sets. And it's slightly different. But I mean, this would be mostly a dish, so we'll probably look for something else. Yeah, in that case. Yeah.
And there are a lot of options if you go on ELLICSR Kitchen. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah, you've been there. Yeah.
Can I ask a very short question?
Of course.
So what is the recommended intake of eggs for the average people?
For average people, so you could probably have 1 egg per day. It's not an issue. There may be still some recommendations if you have high cholesterol, but from my perspective, 1 egg a day for anyone is okay. It could even be 2 eggs a day. Again, it's how it's prepared that is more the concern because it's an excellent source of protein.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Great. Okay. So
What's this?
What's this?
this is time. This is
Oh,
coming. This is
time.
just a add on top. So we've given it a couple minutes on the other side.
Yeah.
It's set. We're done. And I want to serve it on this crusted side. You can do it on the other side as well. But again, what's nice about this is, yes, this is 8 eggs. Even if I'm only making this for myself, this will freeze exceptionally well. So you can cut this off into slices, freeze your portions, and then reheat it if you need that little protein snack. And a dish like this, I think traditionally in Western culture, we only think of eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
This would be fantastic for lunch. This would be fantastic for dinner, as a snack, anytime of the day.
Excellent.
Okay.
And yeah, and
Yes.
if you're fatigued or if you have a small appetite, that's where it's wonderful that you can actually freeze it and then take it out later and just, how would you reheat it?
So you can reheat it in the oven, toaster oven. You can reheat it in the microwave. You can reheat it in the pan.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just warm it until it's steaming in the middle. Here to go. Yeah. All right. So a little slice, and then we have
Just a little slice.
This would be nice. And what I love is you have I know it's hard to see, but you have the layers of the potato and the roasted peppers and the vegetables
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in.
right there.
Yeah, that's
Oh, very nice.
So nice, so tasty and nourishing.
Oh.
We get fancy a little time on
Beautiful.
top. And that's it. That is our non-traditional version, but still very delicious Spanish tortilla with their leftover grilled vegetables.
Excellent.